You don't just want to take omega-3. And as a matter of fact, if you take a cruddy, poor quality omega-3 product, just don't take it at all. So if you're taking an omega-3 product and you don't look at one that's tested for toxins or for purity, you could be adding more bad things in your body than good. Chronic inflammation is silent and destructive, and omega-3s are one of the most effective ways and accessible ways that you can help reduce this burden. Welcome to The Trusted Pharmacist, where you'll learn the truth about how the body works. Welcome back to The Trusted Pharmacist. I'm your host, Steve Hofford, and today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful tools you have in the supplement stack that can help reduce inflammation and prevent chronic disease, and that is omega-3. Omega-3s are so important in your overall health, and I will say this is the one supplement for me that is a non-negotiable because it helps to fight inflammation, it supports good joint health, and it even works in the brain to help control mood. So throughout this podcast, we're going to talk about the important things that you need to know. How does omega-3 work? How to choose the right supplement, because there are many out there and there are a lot that you really shouldn't be taking. What are the potential risks? Even though this powerful supplement can do great things, there's a lot of data that makes it a little confusing about whether or not you should take an omega-3 product. And what are natural ways that you can support your omega-3s without having to take a supplement? We're going to be covering it all. So if you've ever wanted to know about omega-3, this podcast is something that you're going to want to book. So what are omega-3s? Before we can look at what omega-3s are, we need to look at fat as a whole. Fat has been vilified in our country. And unfortunately, fat is not always bad. There's a certain amount of fat our bodies need to be successful. But certain type of fats are better than others. And there are some fats that we really want to eliminate from our diet. So let's break these down. The first thing is saturated fats. Saturated fats are those that are found in animal products and also in some tropical oils. Don't let somebody tell you that these are horrible. We'll talk about later how the animal is raised can have an impact on the quality of the saturated fat. But these are nice because they're good for cooking, and a limited amount in a diet cannot necessarily be harmful for our health. The one fats that we truly want to avoid that were man-made, that corrupted the system, is something called trans fats. These are artificial fats that are processed, that are in things like margarine, baked goods, crackers, fried foods. And these drive inflammation across the board and increase your risk of heart disease. These we need to watch and make sure these are eliminated from our diets and not included, because trans fats are horrible for our overall health. If we're looking at more natural sources of fat, something like a monounsaturated fat, those are things that are found in like olive oil, avocados, and nuts. These are healthy fats, and when used in moderation can help support the heart and also improve metabolic health. And then we jump into something called omega-3s. And omega-3s are polyunsaturated fats, which includes the omega-3 class and the omega-6 class. These are essential for health, and without these fats in our body, we really don't live. But it's all about the balance of these polyunsaturated fats, this omega-3 to omega-6 ratio that's important for your health. These are essential fats, which means the body does not make them. And if we don't consume them, we will be lacking these fats, and thus the processes in the body that need omega-3s cannot perform properly, and your health will decline. To truly know the full power of omega-3, you need to understand the three types. The first type is EPA, which is eicosapentaenoic acid, or DHA, which is doxahexaenoic acid. These are the type of omega-3s that are found in fatty fish. There's a third type of omega-3, which is called ALA, which is alpha-linoleic acid, which is found in plant sources like flax and chia. But keep in mind, it's a little bit different chemical structure, and to get the full power of this type of omega-3, it has to be converted in the body, and we'll talk about that a little later, how that's a little bit of a challenge for humans. The two main forms of omega-3, EPA and DHA, are thought to have a little bit different characteristics in the body. It's thought that DHA is a little more important in terms of brain health and cognition, where EPA can work more in the lower part of the body in terms of heart health and preventing cardiovascular issues. So the two main forms of omega-3 that carry all the weight are EPA and DHA. And these are critical to help reduce systemic inflammation and support cellular health. In terms of other good fats that can benefit omega-3s, we look at something like omega-9s, and those are the things that are found in olive oil and avocados. These are the monounsaturated fats. And these fats are great because they support cardiovascular health and lower inflammation also. These are considered semi-essential. Our body can make these, but supplementing these along with omega-3 adds a powerful benefit. These also contain things like polyphenols, which works as antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress. As we talked about, EPA and DHA come from fatty fish, and ALA comes from plant sources. I get asked a lot, can I take something like ALA fats? Those are things found in flax, chia, and walnuts, and have the body convert it from ALA to the powerful EPA and DHA. And to be honest with you, that's not really possible. Many of the studies that were done showing that the body could convert ALA to EPA and DHA were done in animals. And animals are not bad at converting these fats on their own. But unfortunately, we as humans don't convert them as well. And as a matter of fact, humans only convert ALA to EPA at about 5 to 10%, and they only convert ALA to DHA at probably less than 1 to 5%. So as you can see, trying to get all of your omega-3 fats by consuming chia and flax is really not possible. What even makes it worse is when the body's inflamed, if we take in a high amount of omega-6s or we have a poor health status, this conversion even gets worse. The best thing is let animals convert the ALA over to the DHA and EPA, and this is done in their bodies. For instance, cows have multiple stomachs that can take the ALA that's found in grasses as they eat and convert it to EPA and DHA. So once again, trying to get ALA to convert to EPA and DHA to get your true omega-3 amounts that you need is not very possible, and something that we really need to look past because people ask this all the time, but it's not a way to achieve good, adequate omega-3 levels. So the way to keep inflammation in check is working on something called an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. And when this is in balance, our inflammation stays low. But if we have an excessive amount of omega-6s in relationship to omega-3s, this drives inflammation. And unfortunately, the standard American diet, and I've heard it talked in a lot of lectures called the SAD diet, standard American diet creates an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio that's like 20 to 1, which is totally out of balance of how our bodies were developed and how we've evolved over time. Our amount of omega-6s in the food we eat is out of control. There's so many things like soy, corn oil, vegetable oil, processed foods, all the fried foods dramatically increase our omega-6 amounts, and this in relationship to omega-3 gets out of balance and drives inflammation. Omega-3s, on the other hand, can help balance out the omega-6s and bring that ratio back to normal. So as we said, standard American diet, the way we typically eat, drives an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of about 20 to 1. We want to shoot more closely to 3 to 1, 4 to 1. That's the most ideal so that we have a good mix to keep inflammation under control. I've heard it said a lot when it comes to taking in omega-3s. If you're going to take in a lot of omega-6s, then you've got to up your omega-3s. If you don't eat a lot of omega-6s, then the amount of omega-3s you need to bring in can actually be lower. So it's important. It's a balancing act that drives that inflammation. So don't forget that in terms of how you supplement or how much omega-3 you put in your body, because it needs to be in balance. So now that you know what omega-3 is, what are the health benefits to take in omega-3 fatty acids? To me, the number one thing that omega-3s do better than almost any supplement is help prevent cardiovascular risk. The one thing that I always recommend if somebody comes in with high triglycerides is to add omega-3. Now, we have to take enough omega-3, but omega-3 is fabulous for lowering triglycerides. It actually can help support normal rhythms of the heart. And finally, omega-3 can lower blood pressure. So these combination of cardiovascular benefits can help reduce risk and promote better cardiovascular health. Brain and cognition. I will say omega-3, think of it as a washing, calming effect in the brain. Your brain is mostly fat, and when you can put omega-3s as that fat, you get all the benefit you're looking for in terms of omega-3s. It helps maintain memory. There's great studies out to show that omega-3s protects the brain, and helps overall with cognitive function. It reduces neuronal inflammation. Your brain actually has its own immune system. And when this immune system gets out of whack, out of balance, it drives things like brain fog, anxiety, stress. So omega-3s calm the inflammation in the brain and help with those issues. And lastly, it helps to support a stabilized mood. I've seen many patients who have a lot of mood roller coasters from anxiety and stress that with an omega-3, this helps satisfy, calm the brain, and helps produce a more stable mood. Do you have any aches and pains or joints? Well, guess what? The omega-3 is like a natural anti-inflammatory. Without taking something like Advil, Aleve, and Motrin, omega-3 can naturally calm inflammation and help with these joints, aches, and pains. It actually can reduce the pain related to this. I've seen great success with those patients with osteoarthritis and even more importantly, rheumatoid arthritis for calming that inflammation, improving mobility, and definitely improving the quality of life. The last thing is omega-3s do play a role in terms of hair, skin, and nails, and hormone balance. So with all of these things, for instance, in terms of cardiovascular disease being the larger driver of disease in our country, taking omega-3 can be powerful in terms of helping with the overall health risk. And now that you know about omega-3s and EPA and DHA, what if I told you there's one more secret ingredient that occurs in omega-3s? And these are something called SPMs, specialized pro-resolving mediators. These are bioactive compounds that your body makes from EPA and DHA. And why are they important? Unfortunately, inflammation when it gets cut on is really hard to get cut off, especially if you have a lot of stress, gut issues, poor sleep. And when this inflammation gets cut on, it begins to drive chronic disease and cause a lot of problems. These SPMs have the ability to resolve this out of control immune system and stop the attack and calm inflammation. SPMs can be converted from EPA and DHA, and it's been shown that these hormonal type mediators, Barry Sears calls this the hormonal mediators of resolving this response in terms of our out of control immune system. And if you're low in SPMs, inflammation continues to run and drive chronic disease. So in terms of looking at a good high quality omega-3 product, we want to look for those that includes SPMs to help not only reduce inflammation, but cut off the uncontrolled response that further drives disease. So how do you choose a high quality, ultra pure omega-3 product? You hear me say all the time in my social media stuff that you don't just want to take omega-3. And as a matter of fact, if you take a cruddy, poor quality omega-3 product, just don't take it at all. But the importance is the quality and the purity and the freshness to make sure that you get all the benefit. I like to look for those forms that are what's called a triglyceride or a reesterified form, because these improve and help provide better absorption. The minimum dose a day for most patients for omega-3 is like 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA. We can actually push doses up to 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, but that depends on the medical condition and what you're trying to treat. I want to stress it's very confusing when you look at omega-3 products. If you just look at the label and see on the front, it may say omega-3, 1,000 milligrams. You really have to turn that bottle over, look at the back, and add up the amount of EPA and DHA to find out if you're taking enough. So once again, we have to take enough omega-3 to reduce inflammation and balance omega-6s. But even more importantly is how pure is this product? Purity testing is critical. Many of the omega-3 products are harvested from the large fish in the ocean. These fish have lived there a long time. And just like humans who live in the earth, we're loaded full of toxins. These larger fish are loaded full of toxins. Things like mercury, PCB, dioxane, and these toxins accumulate over time. So if you're taking an omega-3 product and you don't look at one that's tested for toxins or for purity, you could be adding more bad things in your body than good. I think this is even more critical when we look in terms of doing omega-3 products for women who are pregnant and children, because we need the omega-3s in these populations, but we don't need to be adding more toxins and problems. So the purity, I cannot stress, is so important. It needs to be third-party tested. And this testing and these results need to be made available. The high-quality omega-3 that we recommend at Magnolia Pharmacy is something called Ultra Omega Max. And I like this product because it meets all the standards for quality, purity, third-party testing. And every single batch can be looked online to find out this third-party testing to make sure it meets these standards. The other thing I'd like to look for in an omega-3 product is what's the ratio of the EPA to the DHA. And what we're looking for ideally is about a 2-to-1 EPA to DHA ratio. Keep in mind, in terms of cardiovascular risk, EPA does a lot of work. If you're taking a product in terms of brain health, mood, cognition, we might want to do a little bit higher amount of DHA, and certain products have extra DHA added back in to get that benefit. But keep in mind, the purity and the quality is so important, because if you're going to buy cheap fish oil, just don't buy it at all. I'd rather see you not take it, because taking rancid fish oil can actually create more oxidative stress and work totally against reducing inflammation. You want to make sure that it's very low or ultra low amounts of PCB so that you get all the benefit and don't cause more problems. I get asked a lot, what about fish oil versus krill oil? So I like to look at the food chain in the ocean. You've got algae that then the krill eat. The smaller krill then are eaten by smaller fish. The medium fish eat the small fish, and then the large fish eats the medium fish. And this is how this omega-3 gets concentrated up throughout the food chain in the ocean. So yes, could you take krill oil and increase your omega-3 levels? Yes. But keep in mind, krill are the really small organisms in the ocean that haven't really concentrated the algae to make enough omega-3. So to get enough omega-3 that we recommend, which is anywhere between this 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, you're talking to take like 20 to 30 krill oil capsules a day. Once again, it may be a little bit cleaner omega-3 because it is a smaller organism, hasn't been in the ocean as long, but that's where getting a good high quality omega-3 product that's been ultra concentrated and purified and tested is important. The other thing is krill oil does contain something called astaxanthin, which is a powerful antioxidant. So if you're looking to get an antioxidant benefit, yes, krill oil may provide options there for you. But if you're looking to only take and get enough omega-3 by taking krill oil and not a good high quality ultra pure omega-3 product, you're going to really struggle, because you almost have to take 1/3 to 2/3 of that bottle every day to get enough EPA and DHA you need out of taking krill oil. The next big hot topic right now are algae-based omega-3 products. I think these have a place, but if this is the only way you're going to try to replace your omega-3, get the right amount of EPA and DHA, I think you're going to have a really tough time with these products. These products are derived from marine algae and are really a decent source of DHA. But how we talked about how the krill eat the algae and the small fish eat the krill and work our way up, and that DHA and EPA gets concentrated. Algae is the lowest end of the food chain and has very little omega-3s. Now, these may be a good option for those that are vegan and vegetarian, that don't want any type of a plant-based source of omega-3, or looking to get something that's very clean, because once again, algae doesn't stay in the ocean very long, so it's low in mercury. But keep in mind, these forms of omega-3s are low in EPA. So if you're looking to increase cardiovascular protection in terms of taking an omega-3, this is probably not the best form of omega-3 for you to take. Also, the way that these are processed, the cost of processing the omega-3 typically makes algae-based omega-3 products very expensive. So if you're looking to take an omega-3 product more for brain health, eye support, the algae-based products may be okay because they have some DHA. But if you're looking to help lower triglycerides, help with cardiovascular benefit, an algae-based omega-3 product is probably not the best. So if you're looking to build some supplements around omega-3 to help reduce inflammation, these are the things that I would recommend. First of all, we want to get a high-quality, ultra-pure omega-3 product and take anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA. This is the amount of omega-3 that's needed to reduce inflammation. Keep in mind, if you eat a lot of omega-6s, you're going to have to up your amount of omega-3s. But if you buy an omega-3 product, even a really good, clean, pure product, and are taking like 1 capsule a day, to me, the analogy is it's like trying to put out a forest fire with a water hose. It's just not going to happen. So make sure you get enough of the omega-3 of the product you're taking, or you may be wasting your time taking it. So what are the things we can partner with omega-3 to reduce inflammation? The first is a high-quality vitamin D3 product. Vitamin D3 is a fat-soluble vitamin, and actually fat, when mixed in the stomach with vitamin D, helps its absorption. So if it was me, I would take my omega-3 supplement and my vitamin D at the same time so it gets better absorbed. Things like 2,000 to 5,000 units of vitamin D is a good place to start. You need to have your levels checked after 3 months, but this has a synergistic effect in terms of reducing inflammation and improving the immune system of what omega-3s bring into the body. Magnesium glycinate is a great place to also add with omega-3 to help reduce inflammation, anywhere between 200 to 500 milligrams a day. This can help lower CRP, which can help improve inflammation markers. And I like stacking my omega-3 with magnesium. My other favorite supplement to help reduce inflammation is something called curcumin. Curcumin is a natural source, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. It reduces inflammation like an anti-inflammatory, like ibuprofen, something like aspirin, but it doesn't have all the nasty side effects of an NSAID. Anywhere between 500 to 1,000 milligrams of curcumin is important, but the problem with curcumin is it doesn't get absorbed very well. So we need to look at grabbing a curcumin product that has something like black pepper or something that's called a phytosome product that helps improve the absorption. So you get all the benefit in terms of stacking omega-3 with a curcumin to help reduce inflammation. I get asked hundreds of omega-3 questions, and one of the most common ones, because I'm sure if other people have asked, you have the same one. So one of the most common ones we've already talked about is, can I just eat flax and chia to get my omega-3? And I'm going to say that's probably no. Our human bodies just don't convert ALA to the high, powerful EPA and DHA the way it should, especially when we're inflamed. So if you're only going to try to get your omega-3 benefit from eating flax and chia, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. What are the risks of taking omega-3s? At high doses, omega-3s do have a blood thinning effect. We typically recommend between 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA. And once you go above this 2,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, blood thinning can occur. So we need to be careful, especially if you're taking blood thinners. Those are things like warfarin, Xarelto, or aspirin, as these can increase your risk of bleeding. If you have any kind of a blood clotting disorder, we want to be careful with that. And finally, if you have any kind of dental procedures or surgical procedures and you're taking high amounts of omega-3, you might want to back off a couple days before these procedures to make sure you don't have any kind of bleeding risk. If you're concerned about that, make sure you talk to your healthcare provider. Are there any other side effects of omega-3s? We can sometimes see some GI issues. Some people experience things like burping, nausea, and diarrhea. Taking a high-quality omega-3 with food is something that can help reduce this risk. Even more importantly, if you're having fishy burps from omega-3, that kind of worries me. You may not have a good quality product. It may be rancid, which may be a reason to get rid of that one and try one that's high quality, ultra pure. Because if they're not rancid and they're fresh, they really shouldn't cause fishy burps. One of the things I see is most people don't eat a lot of omega-3s, and our body actually needs a digestive enzyme in the gut to break down these fats, the omega-3s, so we get the benefit from them. So what I've seen is if you take an omega-3 product and you don't eat a lot of fat, start low and go slow. End up taking one capsule, take it for 3 to 4 days, make sure you don't have any kind of GI issues or problems, and then work your way up to 2 capsules. Take 2 capsules for a couple of days and work the dose up slowly. Because if you allow the body to start producing this lipase, it can prevent some of the GI issues that occur. So work our dose up slowly. Most good high quality omega-3 products, you're going to work yourself up to this 3 to 4 capsules a day. But working up slowly can help decrease some of the GI issues that occur by just jumping a lot of omega-3 on the system all at once. And that can help make things a lot easier for you. So how long will it take for me to see the benefits of taking omega-3? With things like aches and pains in terms of mood, I usually say give it a couple weeks. It has to go in and start changing some of these inflammatory cascades, start helping the body make anti-inflammatory mediators, and that can take anywhere between 10 to 14 days. In terms of cardiovascular benefit and those health benefits, we really want to give it anywhere between 3 to 6 months. One of the really neat things that you can do is have what's called an omega-6 to a 3 ratio ran. And I recommend to do that. So you want to make sure you're taking enough omega-3. Once again, we want that to be in the 2 to 1, 3 to 1, and 4 to 1 range, and not the 10 to 15 to 20 to 1 range, because that tells you you got way too much omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. And lastly, some people come in and say, I read that taking omega-3s can increase my risk of heart arrhythmias, especially if I take omega-3 and I have no health issues that I take omega-3, it actually can increase my risk. You need to be really careful. Most of these studies are done not truly monitoring the quality of the omega-3 product or how the omega-3 is put in the body. Even more importantly, sometimes these include excessively high doses of omega-3. If you're very healthy, you don't have any other health risk, and you stay in this 2,000 milligrams of EPA to DHA, I don't think you're going to see any risk. Once again, if you're concerned about taking omega-3 and how it can affect your overall health risk, make sure you talk to your healthcare provider. But from what I've seen, these risks with the arrhythmias are dramatically overblown. And so taking omega-3 is something that I would not miss as a most important supplement. So if you're not one to take an omega-3 supplement, how can you get enough omega-3 in your diet to give you the benefit we talked about today? I heard a thing on Dr. Hyman's podcast, which I really liked. It's called eating omega-3s in your smash fish. And what does that mean? That's salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. Keep in mind, these are all small fish, little fish that haven't lived long lives, that are very clean, very pure. You want to make sure you're getting quality brands of these also, but these type of fish are loaded full of omega-3s. To get enough omega-3 equal to supplementation, you really need to include these in your diet 2 to 3 times a week, because these will only provide you about 500 to 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA per serving. The other thing you can look at, believe it or not, is the way the animal was raised. Let's talk about salmon. Salmon that's raised on a farm does not have the same amount of EPA and DHA as wild-caught salmon. The same thing goes for cows and beef. Believe it or not, if a cow sits in a feedlot trough all day long and eats nothing but corn, the amount of omega-6 in its muscle is dramatically higher than the amount of omega-3. But if you take a cow and turn him out in a pasture and let him eat grass all day long, the amount of omega-3s get converted in the body of the cow and actually makes the amount of omega-3 in the muscle go up. Cows have the ability to convert the ALA-rich grass to EPA and DHA, and studies have shown that grass-fed beef can have up to 4 times more omega-3 than omega-6 than a cow that's raised in a feedlot. So to up your omega-3 content naturally and not take supplements, make sure you're getting wild-caught salmon and grass-fed, grass-finished beef to naturally increase your omega-3 levels. Chronic inflammation is silent and destructive, and omega-3s are one of the most effective ways and accessible ways that you can help reduce this burden. Whether you supplement or eat your way into optimal levels, you have to be intentional about getting the right amount of omega-3 and making sure you don't get too much omega-6. Thanks for joining me on The Trusted Pharmacist. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you share it with someone that you care about. And be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And don't forget to head over to our website at magnoliapharmacy.com and look at the omega-3 brands that we've done the homework for to make sure that you get an ultra-pure, high-quality, fresh omega-3 product. And also, make sure you sign up for our weekly email list so that you get the best wellness tips that are in the market. So until next time, stay informed, stay healthy, keep learning the truth about how the body works, because if you understand how the body works, you have the ability to control your health.